The smoke of the Dandy World blot update has finally settled, but that has everyone asking, what's next? And before I give you the unfortunate true news, Quell, the developer of Dandy World, has been very active recently, answering all the questions regarding Dandy's World, even proposing the biggest change we could see in Dandy's World. Let's get into it. It was hinted at a few days ago that there wasn't going to be a summer event. Not only was there not going to be a summer event, but there might not be a new toon coming next update. I know, double freaking whammy. It is now finally officially confirmed after someone asked, could you focus on making some improvements or quality of life updates instead of releasing a new toon? And then the Dandy World developer said, I don't know if you knew this, but no new toon next update. We're optimizing some things instead of focusing to different forms of content, which I was actually pretty shocked by. I definitely thought everyone was gonna be outraged. Like, how could there not be a new toon? Ah! But if you look right here, over 95% of the community doesn't mind, or that it's totally okay if they don't, which to me is a big shock. With that being said, what does the different forms of content mean? Emotes? Is Mastery finally gonna do something? Emotes? New floor types? Or some are even speculating emotes. Dude, I just want to see blot hit the gritty so bad. Regardless though, most people are saying skill check variety or new event floor parts besides just blackout. I haven't even considered skill check variety. What would that look like? I was genuinely wondering, so I looked up some examples. So here's one from Dead by Daylight, where I don't know if this is actually in game, but it looks like instead of timing a skill check, you have a arrow key chronological order thing. But truthfully, what more can you really do? Some people would probably say you could just take a page out of Forsaken's book and just do it where you're completing like a Sudoku. What if you had to complete a freaking Sudoku while you're doing a machine? That'd be insane. But that could be some examples of other skill check varieties, which like I said, not even something I've considered, but could be really fun, honestly. But the more important thing, or more fun thing, or the thing that has literally been talked about, was someone asking, Sprout Room when? And Quell said, eventually. But once again, nothing about more floor types. It was once talked about, months and months and months ago. But we have not seen any tires kicked on it yet. This guy is saying he would love an Astro Night floor, which is a floor event where the floor gets slightly darker, but lights are blue with some particles, and both stamina loss and regen are slowed, but you get tire debuff from Twisted Astro. Like, it's such a simple change. You know what I mean? Like, what if that happened on every main toon floor? Something like that happened. Like, if you got Shelly's floor, you immediately just got Confused 1, right? Something like that. Regardless, that's enough about that. That's not the focal point. Let's talk about the biggest change that could be happening in Dandy's World. But it starts off with Dandy's World player 21 saying, why the new hitbox so bad? And instead of getting replied to by a random Dandy's World community member, which, you know, Dandy's World player probably expected, the literal freaking developer replied to him and said, hey, we're working on hitbox issues. Part of this may be to the increase in players on Roblox recently, though. Which here's a comparison or the chart of Roblox over the past 14 days, which isn't really a clear indication at all. However, Roblox has been outperforming Fortnite by over like 8 million concurrent players regularly. Crazy stuff. To be honest with you, I don't know how more players affects hitbox issues, but I'm gonna trust the developer more than my own opinion. But then SV Renemi said, if no one distracts, it takes business days to even get to floor 20. I played both sides, so there's no bias, by the way, which I completely agree with. You need someone to distract. And the cool up says, yeah, the game definitely does take longer, but if you're like me and want suspense, distractors make it kind of boring. You just wander around and do machines, then run to the elevator and repeat. Yes, some distractors like distracting, and then by all means, they 100% should distract, but it does make the game less suspenseful. And for some reason, once again, the literal creator of Dandy's World replied to that. She said, I've been wanting to make early game a little bit quicker to get through, honestly, which if you're like me, you're like, yes, 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 please, make it faster, yes. On later floors. So I want to get through the early floors faster because they're easier to play, naturally. So then Quell was like, one of my ideas was to make it so your starting amount of machines is 2 instead of 4. What were your guys' thoughts on that idea? Which I thought, that's freaking amazing. That is literally amazing. Why would you not want that? Why would you want to stay on lower floors longer? It's newer player friendly. You will get through floors quicker, and you'll get to the floors you actually want to get to. At least that's my opinion. That's what I thought everyone else would think. But this was actually a poll. What do you think the ratio is? Take a wild stab. Take a wild stab what do you think the ratio is. What if I told you it was dead in the middle. 101 people like it, and 101 people don't like it. I was perplexed. Not only was I perplexed by the fact that more people wouldn't want the early game to be faster, but also that I had so much power to swing it in favor of it being upvoted. I have so much power, whether I want it or not. There it is. But then Quo said she might make an official poll on that later on, but just wanted some general thoughts. I hope she does. I'm kind of convinced that some people just don't like change or want to see change and they're scared, but I guarantee it, as soon as there's 2 machines instead of 4, everyone would be happier. This guy says, I kind of agree on early game, a little easier to get through for casual players. It can also help long run progress much quicker too. Yes, and with that, Quote says it would also make you get through research a bit quicker. As a casual players, it's more floors equals more encounter chances, which is exactly what I'm thinking too. You literally would get mains quicker. Are you guys gatekeeping? Is that why you guys don't want 2 machines? This guy had his own idea though. He says, I don't know if it's possible, but I think I would like it better for machines that fill up quicker on earlier floors than a machine decrease, and then the machine completion time scales up to what it currently is. And Quo was like, really don't enjoy this concept. Would almost feel like just directly punishing the player for progressing further instead of adding challenge with variety. It just makes a process slower, and with that artificially adds longer machines and unfun pacing. And when I said Quo has been busy replying to fans, I was not lying. This person asked, hey Quo, are there any plans on anything communication related? What I mean by that is, imagine you're telling people to go to the elevator, but you type really slow or on console, but there's a button that just does it for you, like a sticker image of some sort. Some would say, emotes? But Quo says, I have plans for things communicated related between players. Imagine if there's voice chat in Danny's world. It'll never happen, but Jesus, it would be horrible. Once again, talking about the machine update, Holiday Enjoyer is like, honestly, 4 machines needs more room for more people to get Iker should you be in a team. It's just my personal opinion. And then Quo's like, yo, dog, my counter argument to this would be that you're also encountering Twisteds a bit quicker and getting research capital a bit quicker in trade machines, so Iker gain is still happening. Plus, Iker from just getting furthest floor sooner would be more Iker for the team overall when we consider that than for one person doing machines early game. Any thoughts on that? And I agree. I literally am in complete agreement with Quell here. My bias is shining, but so be it. Okay, if I were to not change the machine count, then how is there a better way to get players to later stages easier? Research shows most players die around floor 3 or 5 or 10 to 15, and it takes a while to get to floor 15 plus. And this guy's like, dude, it's basically just because new players suck. They don't understand how to survive. They need to learn. And Quo's like, yeah, that's kind of facts, but like, it still takes a long time to get to floor 10 to 15. It does. It does. And more news, freaking toons are gonna get reworked. Someone said, Quell, I gotta say, please keep Ginger the same. I've heard you're possibly gonna change the toons ability. And Quell said, Rudy's doing good, but Ginger, I'd still probably want to rework since she is like Cosmo according to many. Oh my god, there's so much stuff going on. When she said quality of life and not worrying about a new toon, we are getting so much stuff. Maybe not getting a new toon's better off anyways. And since we're talking about Christmas toons, this guy's like, are you considering reworking Cole as well? And Quo said, unsure. I like to pull my bigger changes when I can, so I'll still try to pull Ginger's change some, but you know, that's a bit from now, all of that. I just want to say, she said she was going to change Brighton's mastery. Yeah, that never happened. Regardless, my friends, I was just a dumb truck, and I just gave you so much information. But if that poll comes out asking for machines, just know my opinion stands. I want 2 machines instead of 4. I think that is a great change. I also think they should add Barnaby's game to the arcade machine. Maybe in the lobby or something. Either way, I'll see it. I might stream Block Tales.